So today we are going to review how to give a med using the Equashield system. So when we have a moderate or a high risk, high alert medication that's in the IV form, it will come up from pharmacy in the syringe with a female Equashield cap already on it. So to give this medication, we will need to put a corresponding Equashield cap on your baby's med line. And then when we flush the medication through, we will also have to use the Equashield system. So let's walk through all of those steps. When you're gathering supplies to give a med using Equashield, you're gonna need a few things. You will grab 2 female Equashield caps or Equashield pieces. They're the ones with the red cap here. And you will grab 2 male Equashield pieces. These are kept in our teaming center supply rooms. And then you will grab 2 saline flushes. So 2, 2, and 2. Easy peasy. All right, so the first thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna prime a male Equashield cap that is going to attach to our baby's med line. So to do that, I'm gonna open up one of my female caps here. Very nice. I'm gonna open up one of my male caps here. Very nice. And then I'm going to open up one of my saline flushes. Okay. I'm going to attach my saline flush to my female cap here. And it's important, just like with anything that we're attaching together for a patient's line, that we do not contaminate that connection port. So I'm just gonna go ahead and attach that on right like that. Okay, now I'm ready to attach the female end to my male port here. Now when you open up the male port in the package, you're gonna notice that there's a kind of a lure lock end here on this side, and then there is an end that has like an access port. We are going to attach this end of your female connector to this end of the male connector at the access port. This is where it can get a little bit tricky because you have to be extremely mindful not to contaminate this end here. That is going to connect up to your baby. So the easiest way to do that is you're going to take off the protector cap on the female side. And then I like to use the package that the Equashield part came in to help me keep it sterile. So holding it with the package, you'll notice that there are 3 red lines on my male port, and there are 3 red lines on my female port. This means that I'm connecting them in the correct manner. So you go ahead and push in, and you almost feel like a little give, almost like a little click. You're then going to prime through until you see saline at the end of your male port, like so. All right. Now I am free to take my patient's med line. I will scrub my line for 15 seconds, let it dry for 15 seconds or until it's visibly dry. And then we will attach our male end to our baby's line. Okay. Now it's time for me to hook up my medication that I am going to be giving my baby. So I'm going to disconnect my saline syringe that's on my female cap. To do that, there's a little button here. Kind of see it depresses down. I'm going to push that down and pull out. That takes off my syringe. I'm going to discard this now because we don't need it anymore. And now I can go ahead and hook up my medication to my baby's line using that same manner where I look to make sure that the lines are corresponding. Because this is technically still sterile, I do not need to re-alcohol wipe. If, however, I were to have set this down on my tray or on the pump, I would need to re-clean this male port before accessing with the female. There we go. So I would put this on my med pump, let it infuse, and then when your infusion is done, we will need to kind of repeat the process of what we just did to prime our flush and get that going for our baby. So we'll say that our fluconazole is done infusing. I'm going to come back and I'm going to take my remaining female cap and male cap and get those opened up like so. Be careful not to contaminate them. Here we go. Opening up my syringe. Okay. And again, I'm going to do the exact same process that I did initially. So attach my flush to my female cap here. plastic, remove the cap, and then being mindful not to contaminate my lure lock end, I'm going to attach the male to the female. Oop, and prime through. Okay. Now, this time when I go to the pump, I'm going to take my medication off. I'm going to disconnect my med, so push down on the button, disconnect my medication. It's important that when you disconnect your med that you do not take off the male cap that's on your patient's line. That is how Equashield works. It's a closed system, so if we take off the male end, it's becoming an open system then with potentially hazardous meds still stuck in the line. So it's important to leave it on. Now, since this piece has technically been sitting on the pump while it's been delivering the medication, I'm going to use an alcohol wipe and clean off the end for 15 seconds, let it dry for 15 seconds or until visibly dry. And then this time I'm just going to use the flush in the female end to put onto here. So I will take off my male end that I used to prime. And then with my clean sight ready to go, I match up my red lines and I snap it into place and put it on my pump. Something to keep in mind when you're running a flush through the Equashield system is that it takes more volume to cover this these two parts together. So instead of doing a 0.6 ml flush on our typical microbore tubing, it would be a 1 ml flush for this line here with the Equashield on it.